This happened not long ago. I'm 30 now, living in my childhood home. I moved back to help care for my mom. She was away for the weekend, and I thought it would be nice to reclaim some of my old Halloween memories. The house is old and creaky, like an old sweater. I made some tea, nostalgic for the days of handing out candy to kids. I looked out from the porch, hearing laughter and fireworks. It felt nice, but soon my calm faded. As the night wore on, I began to hear scratching noises from the attic. I paused, my heart raced. It was probably just the house settling, I told myself. I poured more tea and tried to focus on the TV, but that scratching grew louder. It felt frantic. Each time a group of kids came to the door, the noise echoed in my ears. As dusk settled, the porch light flickered. I didn't know what to think. I felt a chill creeping around me. I got up to check the dining room. The family photo hung on the wall. It looked like it had shifted, just a bit to the left. I shook my head. Maybe I was just tired. Every door creaked open slightly, doors I knew I had shut tight. It felt like something was watching me. I tried to brush it off, but the sensation stayed. I opened the front door to hand out more candy, and then I heard giggles coming from the yard. Soft and playful, but I saw no kids around. "Is anyone there?" I called out. The laughter stopped and my heart raced. I stepped back inside, feeling knots in my stomach. It felt wrong inside this familiar space. I sat on the couch, staring at the empty yard. The sounds in the house mixed with those giggles haunted me. I noticed shadows flitting in my periphery. It was almost like whispers coming from the walls. I was getting more uneasy by the minute. I prepared to turn off the lights when I heard a whisper from the kitchen. I wasn't sure what it said. My breath caught and I turned slowly. My heart pounded. What was waiting just beyond my view? I froze, unsure of what to do. I was scared, but I needed to know. I walked to the kitchen doorway, glancing inside. It felt darker than before. I stood there, staring into the shadows. Was it just my imagination? Then I heard that giggle again, closer this time. I whipped around, but no one was there. The refrigerator hummed and the floor creaked under my feet. The world outside felt still. I felt the urge to go back on the couch, to shut myself off from the darkness. But something compelled me to stay. I took a step into the kitchen, and then I saw it. A shadow passed behind the closed pantry door. My heart raced again. I squeezed my eyes shut. I didn't want to open them, but I had to. When I opened my eyes, the door stood still, but the feeling it left behind was like icy fingers trailing down my spine. I didn't know what was happening. All I knew was that something about that night felt very wrong. I took a deep breath, trying to steady my racing heart. The pantry door remained closed, but the air felt heavy. I glanced at the clock on the wall. It was nearly midnight, the hour that felt more haunted than any other. Glaring silence filled the kitchen, broken only by the incessant hum of the fridge. That giggle echoed in my mind. It didn't belong here, not in my childhood home. I knew the sound. It was playful, innocent, yet it felt wrong, like it belonged to a different time or place. I shook my head at the absurdity of it. Maybe my imagination was running wild, fueled by too much tea and late-night fear. I turned my focus back to the pantry. There was something peculiar about it. As a child, it had been a haven for me, hiding in its depths with old candy wrappers and forgotten toys. But now, it felt like a barrier between me and whatever was really happening. Gathering courage, I stepped closer, reaching for the doorknob. The wood felt cool against my palm. I hesitated, thoughts racing. What if I was just about to open a can of worms I wasn't ready to deal with? My instinct screamed at me to turn back, but curiosity won out. With a slow twist, I opened the door. Darkness spilled out, and I wished I hadn't. The pantry was empty, save for a few dusty shelves. No spilled flour or old jars stared back at me. My heart thumped in my chest as I scanned the darkness, searching for any hint of movement. Nothing. Then, behind me, a loud bang echoed through the house, making me jump. I spun around, half expecting someone to leap from the shadows, but the kitchen remained empty. My pulse quickened, and I felt beads of sweat form on my brow. I needed to get a grip. This was my home, after all. Suddenly, the scratching noise from the attic resumed, but now it felt more frantic, like something was trying to escape. Fear punched me in the gut. I thought about going upstairs, confronting whatever was making that noise, but my instincts screamed at me to flee. I slammed the pantry door shut and turned on my heels, clutching the countertop for support. In that moment, I heard the giggle again, soft and close, almost like a whisper in my ear. My skin prickled, the hair on my arms standing straight. There was no doubt in my mind. A presence was there, in the house with me. I dashed back into the living room, shutting the kitchen door behind me. I pushed the couch against it, my breath coming out in quick gasps.
I could barely think, only that I needed to keep whatever was in the kitchen out. Just then, the front door creaked and I jumped. It swung open slowly as though inviting something in. I felt a rush of cold air and caught a glimpse of the night outside, dark and empty. My hands trembled as I stepped toward the door, the porch light flickering again. That's when I saw it, a figure standing at the edge of the yard, just beyond the light's reach. It was too far to see clearly, but I knew I wasn't alone anymore. I had to know who or what it was. I took a cautious step outside, the cool air prickling my skin. The figure remained still, almost blending into the darkness surrounding it. My heart pounded in my chest as I squinted, desperate to make out any details. Was it a person or something else entirely? "Hello?" I called, my voice shaky. No response came, only the faint rustle of leaves in the night. The porch light flickered over the dark figure, but it didn't budge. A shiver ran down my spine. What if it was someone who had come to help? Or worse, someone who meant harm? I stepped down the porch steps, heart racing. With each footfall, the ground beneath felt more unstable, more foreboding. I didn't want to turn back, but caution was fighting with my curiosity. Just as I was about to retreat, the figure shifted slightly, and I caught the glint of eyes reflecting the light, too big, too wide. "Who are you?" I demanded, trying to sound braver than I felt. The figure tilted its head, still not moving closer. Seconds stretched into what felt like an eternity, and I fought the urge to run. That's when I heard it again, the familiar giggle, this time louder, more cheerful, but entirely out of place among the looming shadows. Panic surged through me. Was this a joke? A trick? In an instant, I turned back toward the house, but the front door was already swinging shut. "Wait! Don't!" I yelled, rushing back. I yanked the door, but it felt like it had a mind of its own, slamming shut just before I could reach it. Locked. I banged on the door in desperation. "Let me in!" I shouted, my voice breaking. The figure moved again, stepping slightly forward, revealing a glimpse of pale skin and a tattered dress. The movement brought the giggle again, closer this time, ringing like a bell that rattled my already frayed nerves. I rushed back to the side of the house, hoping to find a window. The kitchen window was ajar, barely hanging on its hinges, but I hesitated, my mind racing. Maybe I should call for help? But who would believe me? Just as I was considering my options, a small, cold hand grabbed my wrist from behind. I spun around, heart leaping into my throat, yelling as I came face to face with nothing.
Sweat dripped down my back as I frantically looked around. Had I just imagined it? A trick of the night? That's when I heard the soft patter of bare feet against the wooden floor of the porch. I braced myself, breath catching in my throat. "Let's play," the voice chimed sweetly, the giggle echoing in the stillness around me. I could barely process what was happening. The figure was gone from the yard, but I was sure it had entered the house with me. My heart sank, dread filling every inch of my being. Now I realized the truth. I wasn't home alone at all. I had to find out where it was hiding before it found me. I dashed toward the side of the house, every instinct screaming at me to escape. I was sure that thing was inside now, its little feet pattering around as if it belonged there. My breaths came fast and shallow as I tried to listen for any sign of movement. The giggle had stopped, but I could still feel an unsettling energy wrapping around me like a cold blanket. The back porch was empty, so I crouched near the steps, peering into the dark yard. A sliver of moonlight made it through the clouds, providing just enough illumination. I needed to think. My phone felt like a lifeline, so I reached for it, but I froze. I could hear the faint noise again, a whisper of laughter. It was close. I hesitated before making my way back toward the kitchen window, scanning my surroundings for any sign of the figure. I climbed up onto the edge of the porch, careful not to make too much noise. I was in a nightmare, but I refused to be just a victim. I would not allow whatever that thing was to catch me. The kitchen light flickered faintly behind the glass. I took a deep breath and pushed the window open wider, slipping inside. I tumbled onto the floor, the cool tiles hitting my palms. Silence fell around me, settling like dust. But then I heard it giggle again, close by, not from outside. I turned to scan the room, searching for the source. My eyes landed on the hallway that led to the living room. A flicker of movement caught my eye. Cautiously, I tiptoed toward the living room, glancing behind me every few seconds. The couch loomed ahead, the shadows dancing along its edges, and I felt a surge of dread. I stepped forward, and the floor creaked beneath my weight. Suddenly, the giggle echoed from behind the curtains, as if inviting me to come closer. My pulse quickened. I gripped the edge of the couch for support, then jumped to the curtains, ripping them aside. Nothing, just the darkness outside. I swung back around, breathing heavily. That's when I noticed an old toy chest in the corner, partially hidden by a pile of cushions. It had always been there, filled with forgotten trinkets from my childhood. I could feel a pull toward it, like it was calling to me. As I cautiously approached, that giggle came again, only it sounded like it was coming from inside the chest. I hesitated, my hand hovering above the lid. "What do you want?" I whispered, half expecting an answer. The only response was silence, punctuated by the sound of my heart pounding in my ears. With a sudden determination, I yanked open the chest. Dust swirled around me, and I recoiled, but my eyes widened at what I found. Toys, dolls, and forgotten memories spilled out. But there was something else tucked away in the corner, a small, tattered diary. Its cover had a picture of a girl with wide, sad eyes. As I reached for it, the temperature around me dropped. A breathy whisper filled the room. "Now it's your turn to play." Just then, the door behind me swung open with a violent crash. I turned, panic flooding my senses as I stared into the darkness of the hallway, the air thick with an unnatural chill. "Who's there?" I yelled, almost pleading, as a shadow shifted just beyond the light. I knew I had to make a choice, to confront what lurked in the shadows or to escape, but my body felt frozen. And then I saw it, a figure emerging, that dress trailing behind it. It hadn't been hiding at all. It was watching me the whole time.
I stared at the figure, my heart racing. It took a step closer, and the moonlight revealed its features. A child's face, pale and unnaturally still, with dark eyes that seemed to swallow up the light. I wanted to run, but my legs felt glued to the floor. "Who are you?" I managed to choke out, forcing my voice to stay steadied. The girl tilted her head, a smile breaking across her features. It didn't reach her eyes. "You opened my chest," she said, her voice soft as silk, but laced with something dark. I glanced back at the toy chest, its contents now scattered across the floor, remnants of a forgotten childhood. "What do you want from me?" The question hung in the air, heavy with dread. "I just want to play," she replied, stepping further into the light. The sound of her tattered dress brushing against the floor sent chills down my spine. Something was wrong. Nothing about her felt innocent. Suddenly, the room felt colder, the shadows growing longer. I backed up instinctively, forcing myself to reach for the diary still on the floor. "I want to leave," I said, trying to sound braver than I felt. Her giggle echoed again, but this time it lacked the sweetness of innocence. "You can't leave yet. The game hasn't started." I felt the weight of her words, a sinking sensation in my chest. I had stumbled into something beyond my understanding, and now I was part of whatever dark game she played. "Why me?" I asked, desperate for answers. "Because you're
Here? And you opened the chest?" Her smile widened, stretching too far, and I could see glimpses of something sharp beneath her lips. "Now you must play." With a sudden burst of courage, I turned to flee, but the room warped around me. The shadows swirled and pulled back as if forming a barrier. Panic surged within me. I needed a way out. I glanced back at the girl, who was now closer, her eyes glinting with something wicked. As I pushed against the darkness, I stumbled over a toy car. It rolled beneath me, and I lost my balance, crashing hard against the floor. For a split second, I saw her face twist into a scowl before she finally spoke, her voice low. "If you want to leave, you must find me." Before I could process what she meant, the air exploded with laughter. The walls seemed to reverberate with it, making my skin crawl. I covered my ears, the sound becoming unbearable. Then everything went dark. I blinked hard, trying to understand what had happened. When the light returned, the girl was gone. The room was back to normal, devoid of the eerie energy that had filled it moments before. But I couldn't shake the feeling of eyes watching me. I scrambled to my feet, gasping for air, my heart racing. The diary lay open on the floor, its pages flapping in an unseen breeze. I hesitated before picking it up. As I reached for it, I noticed something glinting on one of the pages. A drawing of the same girl I had just seen, but this time she was not alone. Other children surrounded her, each with similar smiles. "This is not over," I whispered to myself, the realization settling heavy on my chest. I had opened something I couldn't close. I sat on the edge of my bed, the diary clutched tightly in my hands. The drawing of the girl with the other children haunted me. It felt like a warning. I wanted to believe it was just a figment of my imagination, but deep down, I knew better. As the shadows stretched across my room, I could feel something lingering just out of sight. I had to get out of there. I gathered my courage and decided to head downstairs. Maybe some fresh air would clear my mind. The old wooden stairs creaked under my weight as I descended. I flipped on the hallway light, but it flickered, casting an eerie glow over the walls. I pushed the front door open, expecting to breathe in the cool night air, but hesitated when I heard something. It was a whisper, soft but clear enough to make my skin crawl. It seemed to come from the living room. I wouldn't let my imagination run wild. Maybe it was just the wind, I thought. But when the whisper grew louder, a child's voice repeating, "Come play with me," I couldn't ignore it anymore. I crept toward the living room, my
Heart thudding in my chest. The door stood ajar, and I peered inside. The room looked normal, chairs in place, curtains drawn. But there was a chill in the air that felt different. I wasn't alone. I stepped in, my breath caught in my throat. The laughter I had heard earlier echoed in my mind, rising and falling like waves. I saw it then, a flash of movement in the corner of my eye. I turned sharply, but nothing was there, just the dim light casting long shadows across the floor. Maybe it's just a trick or a prank, I murmured to myself, trying to be rational. But my instincts screamed at me to get out. I turned and hurried back toward the front door. Just as I reached for the handle, it slammed shut on its own. I gasped and yanked at the door, but it wouldn't budge. "Let me out!" I shouted, panic rising in my throat. The whispering grew louder, merging with the laughter, swirling around me like a storm. Then I remembered the diary. I rushed back to the hallway, not caring about the shadows creeping up the walls. I turned its pages frantically, looking for any clue about what to do. That's when I saw it. The last child depicted in the drawing was different. She wasn't smiling. Her face was obscured by dark hair, but her eyes were piercing, filled with something like hunger. With a sudden desperation, I called out, "What do you want from me?" The response was a loud thud, like something heavy falling in the next room. My breath hitched. If I was going to get out of this, I had to confront it. I took a deep breath and shouted again, "I'm not scared of you." But even as the words left my mouth, doubt crept in. I could feel the room around me shift. I turned to leave, but the shadows gathered. There was laughter now, too close, too loud. "Find us," echoed the voices, a taunt that gnawed at my sanity. I needed answers, and quickly. I darted toward the kitchen, hoping the back door would yield freedom. But when I reached it, I saw a reflection in the window, a silhouette of a child standing behind me in the dark, her face twisted in a grin, crooked and sharp. And then, everything went black again. I woke up on the kitchen floor, the cold tiles sending shivers through my body. My head throbbed, and I blinked hard, trying to clear the fog. I pushed myself up, instantly aware of the silence that now filled the house. The whispers were gone, replaced by a heavy stillness that made my skin crawl. I glanced around, hoping to catch a glimpse of the child's silhouette, but there was nothing. I cautiously stood and made my way to the kitchen window, squinting into the darkness outside. Every shadow felt like a threat lurking just beyond the glass. Taking a deep breath, I turned back to the room, intent on finding an escape. The back door still seemed like my best bet, but as I stepped toward it, I heard something, a soft thump from the living room, like a toy dropped on the floor. I froze, my heart racing again. What if the child was still here? What if I wasn't as alone as I hoped? My instincts screamed at me to leave, yet a troubling curiosity tugged at me. I felt drawn to investigate. I tiptoed to the living room, peeking around the corner. The room was dimly lit. Only a few embers glowed in the dying fireplace. I don't know what I expected to see. Maybe that the room had returned to normalcy? But a faint glimmer caught my eye, a small object lying on the carpet. When I stepped closer, I realized it was a toy, a dusty, frayed doll with one eye missing, the same kind I had seen glinting in the drawing from the diary. My breath hitched. I picked it up, feeling its weight in my hands. This wasn't just a doll. It felt wrong, heavy with something sinister. Suddenly, I heard laughter, a slow, deliberate sound echoing from behind me. I spun around to find the child standing near the hallway, her hair obscuring her face.
"You found her," she said, her voice eerily sweet. "Who are you?" I demanded, my voice trembling. "What do you want?" "Play," she replied, her fingers twitching as if beckoning me. "Just play." Fear coursed through me as I took a step back. "No, I don't want to play," I shouted, the doll slipping from my fingers and hitting the ground with a soft thud. The girl's grin widened, eyes glinting like shards of glass. "You have to. They're waiting," she said, pointing toward the hallway. A feeling of dread washed over me. I didn't want to follow her. Deep down, I understood there was no choice. A loud banging came from the front door, shaking the frame. My heart raced again as I hesitated. Was this a way out, or was it a trap? I moved toward the door, the child still watching me. But just as I reached for the handle, darkness swallowed the light. I gasped as I felt fingers brush against my arm, cold as ice, holding me in place. The laughter swirled around me again, filling the space. "You need to find us," they echoed, each word twisting like a knife. I was suddenly pulled backward, and before I could scream, I felt the pull of something from the shadows. I glanced toward the doll on the floor, and in that moment, I knew it had all begun with that drawing, with that girl. But if this was just the beginning, what awaited me next? And then, just like that, everything went dark again. When the darkness lifted, I found myself on the living room floor, disoriented and gasping for air. I blinked into the dim light, desperately searching for answers.
The doll lay still beside me, untouched. My heart thundered in my chest as I scrambled to my feet, scanning the room. Everything appeared normal, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something had changed. "Hello?" I called out, my voice quivering. "Is anyone there?" The silence that followed was deafening, but just as I thought I was alone, a whisper slithered through the air. "Come play." I shivered at the sound, recognizing the child's voice from before. This time, it felt closer, more insistent. I turned toward the hallway, where shadows danced just out of reach. "I don't want to play," I shouted, desperation lacing my words. The laughter returned, echoing from the depths of the house, and I felt the urge to flee. I needed a weapon, something to protect myself against whatever this was. I dashed to the kitchen, rummaging through the drawers. I fumbled with pots and pans, grabbing a heavy frying pan in preparation. I turned, ready to challenge whatever lurked in the hallway. Then I saw it, a shadow flickering against the wall, darting back into the darkness. My breath caught in my throat. "Show yourself," I demanded, gripping the pan tightly. In response, a door creaked open somewhere in the house, sending icy fingers of dread down my spine. I approached carefully, stepping over the threshold of the living room, the pan raised high. Every shadow felt alive, every sound felt amplified. When I peeked around the corner, I was met with an empty corridor, but there was an open door leading down to the basement. The chilling draft pulled at my skin. I knew I shouldn't go down there, but the child's laughter echoed in my mind, imploring me to follow. "Please," I whispered to myself, "this is all in your head." But the urge to know was too strong. I stepped forward, creeping toward the door, my heart thumping loudly. As I reached for the handle, a loud bang came from the basement, like something or someone had fallen. The sound ricocheted in my skull, and fear gripped my heart. Screw this! I dashed back down the hall, toward the front door. It felt like the safest choice, my only chance of escape. But as I reached it, I found it ajar. No way had I left it open. I hesitated, feeling the chill wash over me again. Then I heard it, the child's voice, soft and sweet, whispering, "You can't leave yet."
The air in the hallway thickened as I turned back. The doll's gaping hole where its eye once was seemed to bore into my soul. Panic spiked within me as I stumbled backwards, my mind racing. Who was waiting? What did they want? And why are they still here? The laughter echoed around me, a symphony of chaos. I was about to bolt from the house when, out of the corner of my eye, I saw movement. A figure, a blurred shape darting through the shadows toward me. Someone was in the house.
My stomach twisted painfully. "Get out!" I screamed, clutching the frying pan like a lifeline. But the laughter persisted, wrapping around me as if to keep me rooted in place, a haunting promise that the night had just begun. I stood frozen, the pan trembling in my grip as I struggled to make sense of the flicker in the shadows. A whisper echoed again, "Come play." And this time, it was almost at my ear. I whirled around, but nothing was there. Only silence pressed against me, thick and suffocating. "Stop it!" I shouted into the void, but the laughter only grew louder, more impish. I knew I needed to keep moving, to not let myself get swallowed by the fear threatening to take over. I looked down the corridor again, and that's when I noticed it. The basement door was ajar, swinging slightly as if someone had just been through it. Heart racing, I forced myself to take a step back toward the living room. I couldn't go down there, I wouldn't. But something about that door beckoned me, promising answers even if they were terrifying. I needed to know what was happening. "Okay," I muttered under my breath. "Just a peek." I crept down the hallway, the cold air wrapping tighter around me. As I approached the basement door, every instinct screamed for me to turn back. But the child's voice, a mix of sweet innocence and something darker, pulled me in. I peered into the abyss of the basement, the darkness swallowing the stairs below. "Hello?" I called softly, unsure if I truly wanted a response. A loud crash echoed from the depths. My heart lurched. The pan felt heavier in my grasp, but I took a deep breath and stepped onto the first step. The smell of damp wood hit me like a wave, and I hesitated, my foot hovering in the air. Suddenly, the laughter transformed into a scream, high-pitched and desperate. I stumbled back, the pan slipping from my fingers and clattering onto the floor. What was that sound? It felt wrong, like a warning to stay away. But another sound followed, a soft, shuffling noise from the basement, like someone was dragging something heavy. "Help," a voice whimpered. It wasn't the child's voice. Something else was down there, something human. I gathered my courage and shut the door, sealing off the horrific noises. Maybe I could call for help, but my phone lay on the kitchen counter, unnoticed in the chaos. I darted back, retracing my steps, but as I reached the living room, the atmosphere shifted again. It felt electric, charged with something primal and dangerous. Before I could react, the lights flickered above me, plunging the room into strobe-like chaos. I covered my eyes, trying to adjust, but when the light stabilized, I saw it. The doll was gone. Panic flooded my veins. I turned in circles, searching desperately. "Where is it?" My voice trembled, bouncing off the walls. My heart raced. I had thought the doll was a mere toy, an object of innocence, but now it felt like an omen. And then I heard it, the door creaking open again, but this time there was a soft shuffle of fabric, followed by the unmistakable sound of tiny footsteps. "Come play." That child's voice echoed through the house, chilling me to the bone. I swallowed hard, trying to muster some rational thought, but my mind was a storm of fear and confusion. And then I saw it, a small figure in the hallway, partially obscured by darkness. A fleeting glimpse was all it took to send me running toward the kitchen.
I needed to get out. But as I reached the kitchen, I caught a reflection in the window. The doll stood there, now upright and watching me just outside the glass. That's when I realized I wasn't alone anymore. I stumbled backward, my heart racing as I glanced from the window to the kitchen door, only to find it slammed shut. The once familiar space felt like a trap. The doll, that cursed thing, had somehow shifted, positioned there like an ominous sentinel. The laughter I'd heard so often twisted and swirled around my thoughts until I couldn't distinguish between memory and nightmare. "Get away from me!" I shouted at the doll, but it stood silently, its one dead eye now somehow seeming to blink. Every fiber in me begged to escape, but every exit felt closed off, as if the house itself was choosing to keep me within its haunted walls. I looked around frantically. Perhaps if I could reach the hallway again, I could regain some sense of control. Slowly, I edged toward the kitchen doorway, the air thick with something heavier than dread. I braced myself for whatever lay beyond. As I stepped into the hallway, I heard that high-pitched giggle again, closer, accompanied by a soft whisper urging me to come play. "Why?" I yelled into the emptiness. The question hung in the air, heavy and unanswered. With every step toward the living room, the atmosphere shifted. A chill ran through me, but I pressed on, gripping the frying pan like a lifeline. I swung the door open, the scared child in me expecting to face the shadows. But all I found was an eerie silence. Then, suddenly, the lights flickered and dimmed, as if responding to an unearthly command. Shadows danced on the walls, mindlessly celebrating their twisted freedom. That's when something small leapt into view, a quick flash darting behind the couch. I rushed to investigate, feeling as if the pan was my sole source of protection against whatever may lurk in the dark. "Show yourself," I shouted again, voice trembling. As if to answer, the temperature dropped, and I suddenly sensed the presence around me, sinister and close. Turning quickly, I caught sight of the girl standing at the edge of the hall, her smile wide and unsettling, eyes gleaming with an unholy mirth. "You found me," she sang, her voice dripping with delight.
I was gripped by terror, knowing I had to act fast. I raised the frying pan, prepared to defend myself against the dark intentions swirling in her gaze. But before I could swing, she pointed behind me. My heart turned over as I felt a tug at my ankle. I looked down, only to see the doll there again, its face now grotesquely twisted in mockery. It tried to crawl toward me, its tiny limbs moving unnaturally. In a swell of panic, I turned and ran toward the kitchen. But again, I was met with the sensation of walls closing in. As I reached for the back door, I was thrown off balance. The air sparkled as if charged with electricity. I felt something brush against me, cold and clammy. I stumbled forward, fighting against the pull of the darkness, and yanked the door open with all my might. I barreled outside, gasping for the fresh air of the world beyond this cursed house. But as I stepped into the night, I froze. The yard was empty, the laughter now a haunting echo in the distance, stretching into the night. I didn't know if I should run to the front of the house or call for help. Hope wavered as shadows moved without source, wrapping around me once more, inviting me back in. What remained inside? I glanced back at the house, now not just a structure, but an entity with secrets tethered within. I could still feel the child's eyes boring into me, inviting me back to play a game that I suspected I would never win. Every instinct told me to escape, but a cruel reminder of the doll's gaze held me captive. If I turned my back now, what would keep them at bay? "Come back," the girl said, and I shuddered.
We can have so much fun. I knew, as the wind whispered impossibly sweet promises in my ears, that I would never truly leave. I stood torn between what was outside and what was waiting for me inside. The house loomed behind me, and I understood that I wasn't merely an unwilling player. I was ensnared. I chose to run, but even as I sprinted away, the laughter followed close behind, joining the cacophony of shadows, filling the night with an amusement that would haunt me forever. This was my childhood home, and I had unlocked something that would never be put away. I moved to another city the next week. Sometimes, late at night, I wonder if I dreamt it all, or if there's still a game being played in that old house on the hill, with a watchful girl lurking just behind the walls, waiting for the next child to open the door and play.